have a sort of independence, not just in terms of voice, but in terms of economics. Even the 2008 financial crisis did not hit us as bad as it hit the rest of the world. Yeah. There is a independence to India in that way that is very admirable, and I'm very bullish on that.
Right.
I'm very bullish on India overall because, I mean, I'm all of 28, sir.
Right.
10 years ago, when the largest sort of political shift is happening in the country from a predominantly Congress-led situation to a Prime Minister Modi-led situation, I'm only 18. I'm very young. I have no concept of things. But the last 10 years, I think, have largely been up. I can point to things that have not been up.
Sure.
Pollution's been poor. Infrastructure is still suffering. Education is still suffering. You can look at human capital and still be like, we are pretty much behind. But the gestalt, the sort of larger picture seems like we are going up.
Sure.
Is that my assumption from fabricated media stories, or is there data to back that up?
No, of course there is data. For instance, see, when we do analysis, we should be careful about levels and changes. The question is, have levels improved dramatically? Answer is no. It takes time. Levels haven't changed. Levels, because our level was so bad. But has there been change? From low level to slightly, the point I'm saying, have we reached 30,000 per capita? No.
No.
But have we grown at sufficiently high rate? Answer is yes. We've grown at 7-8%. Not only that, the good thing, especially the Modi 1 era, we have solved a lot of fundamental issues. You will not believe 50% of the population did not have a bank account. Now, without a bank account, you started this issue of redistribution. How will you do any redistribution? Because if I have to stand in a line in front of a panchayat office and then grease the palms of that guy, imagine how many people were getting it. Any kind of government benefit. Now, including opposition parties, all parties have this cash transfer program. Right? How are they able to implement this cash transfer program? The answer is PMJDY, Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana. Modi ji called up bankers, said, I don't know how you do it, you open bank account for everyone. In fact, a lot of scholarly people ridiculed that scheme, saying, "Isse kya hoga? Matlab, aise bank account, savings account, zero balance rahega." When we do, people like us, when we criticize, we should also look back after some time. What did we say and what happened?
There should be accountability of opinion.
For us also,
yeah,
of course.
Right.
Why should there not be see, politicians? I have a lot of respect for all politicians. Whether I agree with them or not, at least they're accountable.
They lose. Yeah.
People like you who put money where your mouth is, you're accountable. Markets make you accountable.
Yeah.
Some of us who do analysis are not accountable at all. We can criticize PMJDY. This video I say something, 5 years from now this will be forgotten.
Yeah.
Then I will talk exactly the opposite of it.
Right.
A lot of us are living our lives like this.
Yeah.
So PMJDY, for instance, then RBI governor criticized it. It's on record.
And who was the governor then?
Dr. Rajan.
Dr. Rajan.
Right? Criticized not in a negative sense. They were all of the opinion, isse kya hoga? Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile.
Right.
This is the big change,
Jan Dhan,
Aadhaar
and mobile. So Aadhaar security verifies ki we are talking to the same person as we are talking to.
Yes.
Mobile allows for technological use in this entire process, which we see.
Information and all of that.
And Jan Dhan allows for the banking part of it to be solved.
Yeah.
I just keep this here.
Aadhaar, and again, we should not be partisan. To be fair, the whole idea of Aadhaar and all of that came from the UPA government. The whole idea of Aadhaar was Pranav Mukherjee and that time, and Nandan Nilekani, they set up the whole thing.
Right.
Even NPCI, at least the thought was there. It was not that it was not there. And they did a lot of work. But what changed after 2014 is the scale. You have an infrastructure, but how many people had Aadhaar cards before 2014? You can go and ask people, when did you get your Aadhaar? You'll find almost everyone that forcing the administration to do things, get things done within a deadline. That I saw was a major change in Modi 1. I studied this PMJDY carefully. I have been with, you will not believe, I was with bankers and I was going on the field. Every bank had to designate a senior level officer who every week had calls directly from the PMO. Senior officer in the PMO would ask this DGM, GM or whoever from a bank saying, so I was talking to a general manager in Federal Bank in Cochin, and suddenly she said, next 15 minutes we have to close. I have a very, very important. I asked her, what is this call? It's a call from the PMO. This was 2014. PMO to a GM, and complete bypass of all kinds of rules and structures. CEMD has no clue. Every bank appointed this guy who has to drive this.
Right.
And they had targets worse than any other private organization you will have. That is how they sort of opened bank accounts.
Right.
They had to literally visit villages, go to people and get accounts opened. 2014, I think the big change that happened was, especially to the poor, is this, some of the very fundamental problems got solved. One is this bank account.
ठीक है.
The other one is access to toilets.
Right.
30 or 35 or 36% of the population had access to toilets in India. That is and I was born, when I was born, we did not have toilet at home. I could relate. Imagine the situation of women.
Right.
So now we are at 80-85%. And recently there is a paper in the Nature, which is a top science journal,
Yes.
which says that because of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, 60 to 70,000 lives have been saved.
So this open defecation problem was a public health concern or an economic concern in some way?
Everywhere, everything, right? Women's mobility gets restricted.
Right.
That way it's economic also and health also, obviously.
Right.
All kinds of issues. So
It's a domino of sorts.
and dropout rate from schools. Girls will drop out. 6th standard, 7th standard, girls dropout rate would dramatically increase if we don't have toilets. So this is a very big achievement that happened post 2014, even from a socio-economic point.
Brother, ये questions और ये podcast सुन के आपके भी दिमाग के चक्षु खुले ना. So subscribe to this so that you can watch our podcast in small bits and clips while you are busy and wasting your life away.